Welcome everyone. I'm Stephen Garvey, NCA founder and leader, and I'm with one of our supporters, members from Montreal, Jonathan. And thank you, Jonathan, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, and
It's a pleasure.
yeah, thank you, John. Thank you for having the courage to step up and talk about realities on the ground. In tonight's segment, this is going to be on Montreal, which is one of the epicenters of the mass immigration agenda in Canada, the extreme multicultural agenda in Canada. And Jonathan, I understand that you're from an immigrant family.
Yes.
Your family.
Go ahead.
Your family immigrated from Italy in the 1970s?
Yes, that's correct.
And you've grown up in Montreal. You've been in Montreal all your life. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and I just want to know, like tonight, like the situation is so extreme that you don't want to show your face. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm really afraid for my safety because I might be persecuted by political entities.
Like
So if
which kind
if
of
I would show my
Okay.
what?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Antifa is very active in Montreal, so if I would show my face, it would be very dangerous for my safety.
What would they do
And
to you? What could they do to you?
I mean, you know in their history how they've been involved in physical intimidation tactics,
Yes.
and they come with backlocks and all their thing.
So they could vandalize your home and do all kinds of things, right?
Yeah. For now, I just cannot take this risk. Especially in Montreal. Yes, yeah.
So they say this is a free country. How's that free, Jonathan?
It's an irony because it's not a free country. It's really becoming it's more and more becoming a Orwellian country. Orwell 1984,
Orwell, 1984.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct. Yes.
Can you elaborate on that? Just
I
on,
mean,
like Montreal. Why do you think that's happening in Montreal? What do you see going on the ground?
I mean, it's been since 10 years. It's been getting worse with the leftist agenda or Marxists. Just pushing all the way to the media, brainwashing people and indoctrinated with Marxist ideology. You're almost becoming like sheep. You have to follow like what the overload says.
Yes. And what about the media, the fake media in Montreal and national media?
Oh, it's really bad. It's like bought off media. You can't even. It's not really free speech, because they expect you to say what they want,
I see.
and with the leftist propaganda, it's even worse,
I see. And yeah, it's so bad you can't even show your face. You have to hide.
Yeah, I'm terrified of showing my face. It would ruin my life,
I see. Yeah, that's terrible, and that's something we're against. You can see, everyone, how free speech is under complete assault in Canada. And these are by radical ideologues in our country. They're in the media, they're in the government, they're at the municipal level, provincial, federal level, they're in academia. And what do you see going on in Montreal, Jonathan?
Like today, I wanted to cover one alarming story. The first thing is right now there's a Marxist-like indoctrination happening at a college. We call it college in Quebec,
Yes.
It's at the Collège of Maisonneuve. So they recently published a survival guide agenda in the fall 2018-2019 school edition.
Yes.
It's like a school board year where you have all your dates, So they explain to the students. This is a direct quote from the article. It says, the agenda is explicit. Sex is not a product of nature, but a social category. all the X and baby boomers have learned. Therefore, it's a fable to be a male or a female. In this regard, do you know what a person of a pansexual nature is? That's what they say in the article. So basically, in a nutshell, they want their students to acknowledge all the different fictional gender identities that the left has created in their minds.
Wow. And this is attacking the family unit, the basic family unit, isn't it? Male, female, mother, father.
Yes, because if you refuse to go against the narrative, you're basically a misogynic bigot, you know?
Yes, I see. So, oh my God, this is like a complete assault on traditional Canada, isn't it? Everything that we stand for.
It's more an assault on the male Euro-Canadian.
Yes, okay.
Because if you're a male, for them, it's like toxic.
If you're a white male Canadian.
It's toxic for them because they're using double speak 1984 Orwellian tactics.
Yes.
You know that term, right? Double speak.
Yes, I do.
So basically, they're forcing their students to comply with their far left propaganda. So I believe the end goal is to make it impossible for Euro male Canadians to live out their traditional way of life. This is really an existential threat. This cannot be taken lightly, because it's never covered in the mainstream media, and this is like a big story, you know.
I see, and
it should be a big yes.
How do you see this threat manifesting yourself? What do you mean by existential for those people listening who don't know what that means?
Because the thing is, you have to embrace all the 31, you know, in New York Times, they say there's 31 different gender identities.
Yes.
They want you to acknowledge all the genders. We say gender folly, you know, gender madness.
Yes.
And if you don't conform to them, it's like you're a bigot, you know?
Exactly. You know, the federal government passed C-16. If you don't use the right gender term, that's a human rights violation.
Yeah, and a criminal one also. Because in Ontario... Yes, go ahead, sorry.
You could be criminally charged. We want that rescinded, C-16.
Yeah.
It's nonsense.
And if your child... If he has, like... If he thinks he's a male in his head, he has gender dysphoria, you have to follow the law, and you have to they have to consult with the clinician. They want all this confusing, you know.
Exactly. And what else is going on there? You mentioned some kind of systemic racism investigation going on in Montreal.
Yes, the city of Montreal they launched that in August. It's a systemic racial inquiry.
Yes.
It's like an institutional. Let's be clear. It's institutional systemic racism
inquiry. So they're looking for systemic racism against who? And
against Quebecers.
By who?
I mean, they think against the immigrants.
So
the immigrant minority thinks that they're being discriminated
by traditional Quebecers.
Yes.
All right.
But the thing is, Quebecers were the most open individual in society, you know.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think's going to happen with this inquiry?
But I'm just gonna say in a short resume, it's basically they want equal representation of a minority in the government functions in the city. So they want the equal. If it's 13%, it has to be 13%. So they don't hire based on talent or skill. They based on politics, you know.
So this is affirmative action favoring visible ethnic minorities.
Yes.
So they're going to get jobs over your Canadians.
It's going to be harder and harder
to get jobs.
because we're second-class citizens. The market should be based on skills, not politics shouldn't be involved, you know?
Yeah, and that's something we support at the National Citizens Alliance. We want merit-based approach. Jonathan, we also want to amend and even rescind the Employment Equity Act. And across Canada, from coast to coast, there's thousands of Euro-Canadians who can't get a job because they're being discriminated against in hiring visible ethnic minority new immigrants over them, even though they're more qualified.
I understand, but there's also another thing. You have to comply with feminist radical ideology.
How?
So that's even more harder because you have to comply how they think. You have to like bow down. They have a whole way of thinking that is very radical to a traditional way of life for Euro Canadians.
And they expect that when they hire you, right?
Yes, you can't. You have to be like a. Sorry for the expression. You have to be like a bella cock, you know.
Wow. So this is what's happening in Montreal, in other parts of Canada. This is very disturbing.
Yes. It's only.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jonathan.
It's only gonna get worse, and the thing is, we don't have free speech. It's an illusion.
Wow. This is something we stand against, everyone. Please share this message. Thank you, Jonathan, for sharing this information. This is very disturbing, everyone. Canada is becoming a tyranny. Let's face it. We're losing our freedom of speech. And if you don't conform to these radical ideologues, you will be pushed down. So we need to fight back, everyone. This is unacceptable. Jonathan, do you want to add anything in closing?
I mean, I hope the goal is to confront Marxist ideology. If not, we're just lost.
Exactly. And I want to add a footnote. This Marxist ideology has an agenda of cultural inversion, social inversion, and that's a way to take control of society by turning everything upside down. People should get informed on that. But this is a revolutionary takeover. Jonathan, I'm sure you're aware of it, aren't you?
Sorry, someone came.
Yeah, I'm sure you're aware of that, eh? Of how insidious this is.
Yes, it's like it's really it's kind of toxic, you know.
Yes, and it's suppressing your freedom of speech to the point you don't even want to show your face. And
but it's not only freedom. It's not only freedom of speech. It's your way of life.
Your values, your family.
Yeah, because your values for them it goes down the drain, you know.
Exactly, and this is a direct assault on the family unit. It's a direct assault on individual values. And it's impacting people like Jonathan in the workplace. He has less likelihood of finding work now because of these extreme policies and these extreme ideological views that are being pushed on everyone. This is all wrong, everyone. Please share this message. Thank you very much, Jonathan, for joining us.
No, thank you very much, Steven, for having me on. I appreciate it a lot.
And you have our full support. You have the full support of the NCA. Thank you very much, Jonathan.
No, thank you to you.